Hi, and in this video, I'm going to share 4 things a man needs to feel to commit to you. Hi ladies, Matt Shaffer, your empowerment, connection, and relationship coach. I'm a former attorney who's committed his life to supporting you and creating this sort of fun, fulfilling, dynamic connections and relationships with men that you're so worthy of. And this is a hot topic. We're going to be diving into the 4 core feelings, the 4 core emotions that every man needs to feel in order to take the leap and really want to commit to a long-term relationship. This is a big subject for a lot of ladies, and I'm excited to share it with you. But before we do, take a second, hit that little subscribe button, and don't forget to click that bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. And be sure to click that link in the comments and caption, because I have created some great training that's going to make a huge difference in your connections and relationships with men. And be sure, ladies, as I'm going through these points, to sound off in the comments. Let me know maybe some feelings I missed or some other signs that you have found indicate that a man is truly ready and willing to commit to you in love. Now, without further ado, let's dive into it. Now, an important point to start with here is just because a man is attracted to you, or he really likes you, or he even really seems like he loves you, or he says that he loves you at some point, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's ready or able to commit to you. Yep, that's true for a lot of men, including myself. I know in many connections I've had with wonderful women over the course of my life, I've just been unwilling or unable to really move forward into deeper commitment with them because there was just something missing for me emotionally, which is why every one of these 4 emotions is so important, and we're going to go through each one of them in detail so you can know how to recognize them. Because commitment is an interesting thing with men. It's not just a feeling-based decision. There's a really deep practical aspect that men have to take into consideration before moving forward. So once you're able to identify and understand the practical and the emotional elements of these 4 feelings, you're going to be able to identify them in men and be able to determine if he's really ready to commit to you in a long-term, sustainable way or not. And so you won't have to waste your time with men who just aren't able to give you what you need. Sound good? All right, let's dive in. And be sure to stay till the end of this video where I share the biggest common pitfall I see women fall into that leads to them wasting their time with men that just aren't able to commit to them. And ladies, I'm gonna make it really easy to remember these 4 feelings because it's gonna be with 4 letters. R-I-P-E. That's right, you want your man to be right. And that first feeling a man needs to have to be able to commit to you is ready for commitment with you. And I mean ready both physically and emotionally. And when I say emotionally ready, I mean he needs to be emotionally available and emotionally equipped to give you that commitment that you're worthy of. So what does being emotionally ready look and sound like from a guy? Well, first off, one way to recognize it is that he's being open and connected with his heart. And this means that he's being vulnerable with you, he's not afraid to acknowledge you or to share his feelings with you. So this might look like if you're out on a date, he looks over at you and says, I just want you to know I have so much fun with you and you really do make me happy. That's a guy who's grounded in himself and he's not afraid to share what's going on inside him, because he's really looking forward and seeing that he really does want to commit to you. And a second sign that a man is emotionally ready for commitment is that he doesn't have any past ex baggage. That's right. He's at peace with his exes and doesn't have any lingering emotional attachment with his past relationships one way or the other. Because it's interesting, an emotional attachment to an ex doesn't have to be loving, right? Sometimes a way that men will express emotional attachment towards a former relationship is through anger. And so you want to look for, if a man has any sort of lingering, intense emotional response or reaction towards a former relationship, that's a guy that's probably not emotionally in a place where he's ready to commit to you. And the second way a man needs to feel ready is he needs to feel physically ready to be in a commitment with you. And this means he needs to feel ready in terms of where he's at in his life to truly be the partner and be the man that you're worthy of in a committed relationship. And this is so important because we as men, we feel an inherent responsibility to be the provider and the protector in a committed relationship. This is evolutionarily programmed into us. So before we're going to be able to really confidently commit to someone, we need to be in a place in our lives where we feel we can bring someone into our life and support them in that way. So what does this look like? This looks like a man who is grounded, right? He is grounded in his identity, in his purpose, in his sense of who he is and what he's up to in the world. He's confident in his career, and he really, understands who he is and where he's going. This does not mean that he's got himself all figured out or he feels like he's some perfect person, okay? We're not trying to attract a narcissist, right? But we do want a man who truly understands who he is and feels ready to bring someone in. A king who is ready to bring a queen into his kingdom. That's the sort of energy and the sort of being that you're looking for when you're evaluating if a man is ready to commit or not. It is okay for him to be working on himself. We should all be working on ourselves, right? But he should feel like he has a foundation that he's anchored in the way that he's showing up to you and in terms of the relationship that y'all have together. Now I want to address a common scenario that you may be thinking of that so many of my clients and students bring up to me is that I'm seeing somebody and he seems really great, but he's just unable to commit because he's got a big project going on with work right now, or he's in between jobs, or he's living with his friends or at his parents' place, or blank. Fill in the blank in his physical life. Sound familiar? Well, this is a common thing. And here's the thing. It brings up a quote to me that the right person at the wrong time is still the wrong person, because you gotta recognize if a man does not feel physically ready to be in a committed relationship, it doesn't matter how great your connection is, he's not going to be able to do it, or it's going to massively undermine his ability to sustain a relationship with you. This brings up a story from my own life that I'm going to share with y'all, where I was in my 20s and I was dating a great girl, and we were in the early stages of dating and in the early stages of a committed relationship, right? And out of nowhere, I lost my job. I got fired from my job that I was fully dependent upon for my livelihood at that time. And that emotionally threw me so far off base that I emotionally checked out of my relationship and ended up sabotaging my connection with this girl. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't stay committed to someone when my life was in chaos. So in short, ladies, don't spend a long time in a non-committed relationship waiting for a man to get his life together. Don't overly invest in unrealized potential. If he is not already actualizing his potential or on his way to do so, move on. There's plenty of great guys out there that would love to give you exactly the type of commitment that you're worthy of. So now that we've got the R, let's move on to the second thing a man needs to feel to commit to you, and that is inspired. Inspired by you and by the prospect of your future together. And a huge distinction in male behavior that I want to make here is between a man operating from inspiration and a man operating from obligation. You want a man to move forward into commitment with you because he's inspired to be with you, not because he feels an obligation to commit to you in order to avoid losing you. Does that make sense? And this is super important because so often I see people settling into mediocre relationships because they're together just because of a fear of losing each other or of the other person walking out, rather than because they're inspired to be together. So how can you recognize if a man is inspired to want to commit to you? Well, what it's mostly going to look like is that he is really going to be proactive about moving things forward, about escalating the commitment with you, and about really owning your relationship. For example, in my relationship, I was so inspired and activated by my woman's energy and by the prospect of being in a relationship with her that after just a handful of dates, I went for it and I claimed her as my girlfriend, and I've never looked back since. And I want that for each and every one of you, to inspire and activate a man who's really ready to be in a relationship and that he wants to claim and plant his flag and claim you as his woman. Now that we've got the R and the I, let's dig into the third feeling a man needs to feel in order to commit, and that is proud. Proud of you and of your role in his life and in his role in yours. And this is a huge one. One of the biggest things a man feels when he is ready to commit to you is that he is proud of the connection that the two of you share, and he enthusiastically wants to share you with the people in his life and wants to deeply integrate into the people in your life. And this is because fundamentally, he has made a determination that you are high value to him, and he is all in, both in terms of how far he wants to bring you into his life and how much he wants to be a part of yours. So what does this look like? He's telling his friends and family about you. He's wanting to introduce you to them. You're popping up consistently on his social media. And I mean, I know in my own life, I love sharing little snippets from my adventures with my girlfriend. Like we went to the Grand Canyon recently, and that was a blast. And another sign that a man is feeling proud to be a part of your life is that he actively wants to connect with and build relationships with your friends and family in your life. So he'll be encouraging you to set up dates, and coordinate meetups with your friends, with your family. He's asking questions. He wants to start building relationships with them, right? Because that means that he's getting integrated deeper into your life, which is something that he actively wants as part of a committed relationship. And now that we've got the RIP, let's move on to the fourth thing a man needs to feel to commit to you, and that is enamored. That is the E. It stands for enamored. And enamored means that he is filled with romantic feelings towards you, and he is actively expressing them to you in a variety of ways. And one sign that a man is deeply enamored with you is that he will be incredibly present when he is around you. That means lots of sustained eye contact. He's going to be a wonderful listener. He's not even going to think about answering his phone or touching his phone when you're around. And he's going to be paying attention and listening for the small details and remembering them from the things that you say to him. And another way that you can tell that a man is enamored with you is that he is romantically invested in your feelings. And this means that he is consistently communicating to you and creating experiences for you that demonstrate that he cares about you and that he really does want to do whatever it takes to make you feel amazing. And a man being romantically invested in your feelings can look so many different ways. One might be if you come home from having a rough day, that he recognizes it and he offers to give you a massage or cook you dinner or just do something to help shift your energy. Or maybe on an early date, he recognizes that you really love something about what he does for you, and he makes it a recurring theme over all the dates that follow. So in my own life, for example, I got my girlfriend. She wasn't my girlfriend at the time, right? It was our second date. I got her a rose because I was so inspired by her. And I was a little nervous to give it to her because that was kind of a strong move, right? But she loved it so much and it lit her up so much that I decided to make it a thing that on each one of our subsequent big date nights, I would get her another rose until I built up to a dozen. And that's been such a fun project, and to see her light up every time I show up with even more roses and even more roses, and I'm also on a first name basis with the florist, and it's just been a blast. But these are the sort of things that a man does when he's romantically invested in your feelings, and that's a huge sign that he's ready to commit in the right way. And I want to address one major pitfall I see a lot of women getting trapped in when it comes to a man being enamored. All right, a lot of women will see and feel a man enamored and expressing lots of romantic feelings or gestures towards them and assume that he's ripe, right? That he's ready for a committed relationship. But the hard truth is that unless these other core emotions are in place, whatever commitment that he's expressing or sharing with you will not be sustainable long term. So for example, maybe he's enamored and he's being very romantic and expressive to you, but he's still not over an ex, right? He's not emotionally ready for you because he's still got feelings of anger or of, love for an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife. That will significantly undermine his ability to be in a sustained commitment for you over time. So he might be able to do it for a little while, but he probably won't be able to do it long term. So make sure, ladies, that all four of these components are present for a man to be ready for relationship. So remember, my dear, for a man to commit, he needs to be ripe. He needs to be ready, both emotionally and physically. He needs to be emotionally available and able to give his heart to you, and he also needs to be physically ready in a way where he has built up his understanding of self and his physical world to be able to bring you in comfortably and confidently. And he needs to be inspired by you, inspired by the prospect of your future together. And that means he's going to be proactive about claiming you and about becoming the physical driver of that future relationship with you. He also needs to be proud of you and proud of the role that you play in each other's lives and sharing you with his people and wanting to be connected to yours as well. That is going to be a huge part of whether he's ready to take the leap or not. And lastly, he needs to be enamored by you. He needs to be filled with loving feelings towards you and present and romantically invested in your feelings and connected to you. And you want to be able to feel that from him at all times. If all four of these components are present, R-I-P-E, then you know that he is ready and willing, and he's going to be able to commit to you in a sustained way. So get out there, ladies, and create that ripe, beautiful, abundant, loving, committed relationship that you're so incredibly worthy of. But before you do, be sure to take a second, hit that subscribe button and that little bell. Don't forget to click that link in the comments and caption to sign up for my amazing training, and be sure to sign off in the comments. Let us know what are some of the signs that you have determined when a man is ready to connect with and commit to you in a deep and meaningful way. Let's get that dialogue going so we can all share the love. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.